I just hope you're happy just for the reasons of just being joy-filled and happy, right? Do we always need a reason? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. We've adjusted these lives to go in the afternoon. We used to do them in the morning, then we used to do them at lunchtime, and just finding much more traction at this time as people are starting to kind of wind down a little bit and perhaps, just listen in a little bit more to some timely topics. And we've got another timely topic coming at you today. Talk about timely topics. I don't know. I think I was ahead of schedule. Are you one of those that waits until last minute? Or are you one of those that like has a calendar appointment for something that's going to be happening in a couple of months that I just need to start thinking? Yeah, the latter, this guy. The today got snow tires put on the car. Yeah, every year about this time. Sometimes it's a much later in the year, but we live in snow country, and we got trick or treaters, I believe, coming next week, and that is like the signal. Happy Halloween is you better have the snow tires on the car so you are prepared, bozo, because you don't want to be one of those that are sitting at the tire shop with a longer line that you'll find at Six Flags for the cool roller coaster, everybody waiting to get their snow tires put on. So, yeah, it's what we do here in the North Country. If you've never had to put snow tires on, I guess you're not really living, just not really living. I hope you're living well. And you've got some good momentum going into this semester. Wow, it's like mid semester, probably past that already. Crazy to see just how fast things are going. So as you look at your calendar, we're going to zero in on calendar today. I build these semester focus planners. I built this thing for me because I couldn't find honestly, I could not find a planner that I liked. So being the selfish person I am, I built my own. I built a planner that I needed to work the way that I needed it to work. So not well, you can buy these. They're on the webpage in the bookstore, higherperformancegroup.com, but it's not the commercial today. But I do need to tell you something about your calendar that's probably going to make you a little bit uncomfortable today. Um, we'll just call him Marcus, a superintendent. Uh, Last week at his regular Sunday afternoon calendar meeting, he realized that the week prior, he had spent 23 hours the week prior on cabinet related meetings. His CFO wanted to align and sync, right before Tuesday's cabinet. I don't know, when is your cabinet meeting? There seems to be something special about Tuesdays because Tuesday cabinets are kind of the real deal. I know that his chief academic officer just needed to preview a number of concerns. His VP had some real quick questions that took like 40 plus minutes. So here's the brutal truth, right? We collaborate in education, but we don't really collaborate. It looks like people coming together and working together, but we perform collaboration while avoiding the actual work of thinking together. It's a real thing. There's a lot of fake collaboration going on today, and you are allowed to feel exhausted by the endless cycles of pre-meetings and actual meetings. I've seen your calendar, boss. I have. It's back to back to back to back to back to back. And so many of these are meetings about the meeting about the meeting. Am I wrong? And the post meetings after the meeting. Wow. Yeah, really busy, but we tend not to be as brilliant as the person that they hired us back in the day because the system kind of takes over, right? Here's what's at stake. While you're trapped in meeting purgatory, is what I call it, your faculty, your teachers are just waiting for some clear direction. This finger of trust right now is saying, here's where we're going, right? And your board is asking, why does everything take so long? Welcome to public education, right? The MIT research shows executive teams spend about 23 hours per week in meetings, 23 hours. Yeah. But educational leadership teams spend probably an additional dozen to 15 hours in pre and post meetings. That's on top of your back to back to back to back meetings, right? That's 40 hours of meetings to make decisions that effective teams make in about 10 hours. So it's time to recreate the standards. 3 months ago, I watched a cabinet team for a couple of days while I was there. Morning meetings, right? Found the CFO, the VP of finances, just frequently aligning with the president. Found the provost frequently syncing with the president. Um, Before the actual cabinet meeting, about 2.5 hours of real meetings that took place before the actual meeting. And I asked, in this case, it was superintendent. I said, why does everyone need to talk to you separately? Right? This efficient mind of mine always is just trying to think, it just doesn't add up. She said, because they don't feel safe disagreeing with each other in the room. Let me repeat that. She said, they don't feel safe disagreeing with each other in the room. So they come to me separately. And I said, whose problem is that? So, how many of you scheduled just quick sync meetings before your cabinet meetings this week? You probably had a Tuesday meeting today. How many got message asking for, hey, can you preview something before the full team is scheduled to discuss it? It happens probably more frequently than we're even conscious of. And the pattern is really universal. We treat collaboration like diplomatic relations between separate nations, separate divisions, separate departments who all happen to be working in the same building, right? So while you're stuck in this meeting marathon, your faculty are just waiting for directions and decisions, and your students are experiencing the downstream consequences of real slow leadership, right? We all just kind of live on this cul-de-sac of pre-meetings and meetings and post-meetings and meetings and post-meetings and pre-meetings. Yeah. So I've discovered there's this 3 meeting cascade thing. Okay. It's really an invisible pattern that's stealing your time, boss. Okay. If you've read any of Dr. Amy Edmondson's work, Harvard researcher, she is one of my favorites back there. She reveals that teams with low psychological safety spend 3.2 times longer making decisions, not because they're more thorough, right? Because they're having the same conversations 3 different times. That's why. You got the pre-meeting, you got the actual meeting, you got the post-meeting, you know the dance. Right? When you don't feel safe disagreeing with your colleagues and you put on that happy face, that amygdala activates. You go into protection mode. Mm-hmm. You lobby individually instead of thinking collectively. It's not really politics. We're talking neurology here, right? And I can't think of a better person to bring into the conversation than, I wish I could call her my friend, but Brene Brown, right? Dr. Brene Brown. Her research shows psychological safety. It isn't built through, cush balls and trust falls. It's built through successful navigating disagreement together. Conflict actually builds trust, right? Teams that practice just productive conflict, they make decisions 2.3 times faster with about 40% better outcomes. So conflict doesn't mean the bad things are happening, folks. Conflict just means that things are happening, right? And I can't imagine, if things aren't happening, how angry and upset and probably disengaged the people across the curb are of your campus, right? So stir it up, boss. Your team doesn't trust each other because they've never really practiced disagreeing productively. And that is something that you can teach. So when teams lacked collective EQ, it shows up. It's just as Monday morning alignment calls before the Tuesday cabinet meetings, and the same decisions getting reopened because it was never really clear how it was going to be closed and moved and punctuated, like we're moving this post meetings that just need clarifications that are actually just renegotiations all the time, right? And principals leaving with different interpretations of the same directive. So if you've scheduled any of these pre-meetings this week, just drop the term or drop the word pre-meeting in the comments below. I'd love to just see that we're among friends. And folks, like I said, it's normal. It's normal. I'm just nudging. I'm just nudging here a little bit because I care deeply about healthy teams recreating a broken system. So that's why I get here online to do these lives. It's so important. So Marcus, the person I told you about earlier, did something radical after calculating his meet. He called it my meeting tax. Nobody likes to pay taxes, but I think it was brilliant. He called it his meeting tax. His large district, his team was spending $1.1 million annually in meeting time. Just rack it up. He told his cabinet, hey, for 6 weeks, pre-meetings are canceled. We're not doing pre-meetings anymore. And some of the more politically savvy ones were just kind of aghast. They were like, what the, how am I going to slither my way around to get what I need done? He said, we're going to practice disagreeing in our actual meetings instead of avoiding disagreement through those separate conversations. He said it respectfully. The team, I think, is still kind of processing through that. I know the first meeting was really uncomfortable. Someone said something just half formed, and another person pushed back in the meeting in real time, and Marcus didn't rescue it. Right? He let the productive conflict just happen. How often do we like jump in, especially if you're a feeler type? I'm a feeler dude, and I don't like conflict. When it's happening, I play middle child, right? I just like jump in. Oh, say. I know your points are very, very valid, and you know how much value you bring to the table over there, and yeah, always just trying to settle down the tension or the friction. But man, the goodness of just allowing that with constraint, right? To be able to just kind of play itself out. Disagreement is good. You can think out loud. You can refine ideas like at the table. Um, in this case, they made decisions that were actually clear. And the meeting took 90 minutes instead of the 2.5 hours that normally it took. And nobody asked for clarification afterwards. So here's what I want you to do. Think about pulling off that meeting audit that Marcus did. Count your hours of pre-meetings, meetings, post-meetings, just from last week. Marcus totaled 64 hours. Yeah, over the course of 1 week. And then calculated that cost times 42 weeks of meetings. And then the average compensation, just kind of thumbed it in. That's where he came up with the $1.1 million worth of meetings. Folks, I think you can buy a yacht for that for your campus, huh? We need to see more campus yachts. What do you say? Trading productive meetings for a little cruise liner. Do this as well. You can do a trust diagnostic. Uh, Marcus did this. He said, asked his team on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you disagreeing in this room during this meeting? And the answers in his case ranged anywhere from 4 to 7. And that really explained why so many pre-meetings were happening across that campus. So do a trust diagnostic. Do your meeting audit just for fun. And you don't have to really show anybody. It just creates some self-awareness. How much are you spending on meetings? And then do your own trust diagnostic. How comfortable are you disagreeing in this room during our meetings? And then This one's really good. This one was the best thing that I stole from his system. I get into this work just so I can steal, rip off, pilfer the best ideas, or I'm sorry, the better. I come in with best practice, and oftentimes I leave with better practice. That's the joy of being able to spend time on campus and really learn from the leaders in the thick of the things, right? So let's talk about just a decision rights map, like the authority to make decisions. 3 columns. If you just write it on the whiteboard, right? My decisions, our decisions, and your decision, right? From left to right. My decisions, our decisions, and your decisions. And they assign their top 10 decisions. Okay. 40% landed in our decision, right smack dab in the middle. Our decisions, explaining why everything took consensus and at least 3 meetings to move from to do to done, right? Um, so that's all about the authority in your decision making process. And most campuses really don't have a very clear decision making process, but this is something that might get you on your good way, right? Just establishing, where is it my decision as the boss? Where is it our decision in terms of consensus? And what stuff is your decision? I don't give a rat's wrinkled rear end what color the balloons are at this particular festival. Let's choose not to meet on that. And you're fully accountable, but please, no brown balloons, right? Yeah, and you can also just think about disagreement practice. It's just a simple protocol. Disagreement. I say disagreement is data. Don't get all wigged up about it. It's not disloyalty, right? When you disagree with somebody, it, you still can stay committed in a good. I think disagreement is part of a healthy relationship. When you disagree, you probably start with "help me understand." Right? That's just some basic language instead of "I think you're wrong." I mean. Yeah, don't watch the stupid news because there's just more finger pointing and more of that style of, "Hey, I think you're wrong. No, you're a bozo." Instead, let's just be the not adults, because these are adults that are playing like children. Let's be the grown-ups. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more grown-ups in the world. We don't need any more adults. We got enough of them. We really do. We need more grown-ups that would say, I'm the learner here. I from where I sit, here's what it looks like to me, but I'm not sitting where you sit. So help me understand, right? So yeah, if you don't fix your meeting cascade, your calendar it's just always going to stay plumb full while your impact stays crazy small, right? And you just become average. And average systems are still going to maybe get your little pittance from the state or the federal government or whatever. You're going to stay in business, but you're probably going to fall out of demand sooner than later, right? Your best people will burn energy. You'll be losing your best capacity talent because they sneak out the back door. They really do. Unfortunately, your worst people stay and your best people go in places that are in process, right? And your decisions just kind of remain ambiguous, and nobody likes to live in the mushy gushy, the VUCA, that volatile, uncertain. Just give me some clarity, right? So imagine walking into a cabinet on Tuesday morning and actually making decisions. hmm We're going to have leadership challenges all over the place, but picking one and saying, "Hey, clearly together, we're going to call what that issue is. We're going to own it personally." Um, we'll have some healthy disagreement, and we'll probably work then to execution to say, "Hey, by Friday, let's launch this baby." Right? Picture having 14 hours back every week to actually lead and do the things that you're supposed to be doing or want to do, right? Envision, if you're K-12, your principals experiencing your team as aligned instead of just this ambiguous loss of 2 hours every Tuesday, right? The question isn't, how do I manage all of these meetings? It's, why do I need this many meetings, right? I do argue. I think meetings are good, but what if meetings actually were the solution um, to helping your system run with more higher performance practices? Yeah, instead of a waste of time, they're the best uh, the best investment of your time. That's what I believe meetings ought to be. So right now, just take out your calendar and count the hours spent last week in your pre-meetings. Just do it just to put that data right on the table. You can multiply that by how many meetings you're going to have with your team, and then hourly rate. Yeah, that's your meeting tax. Write it down. Have some fun with it. Um, I've also just developed some material that might go well with this particular talk. You can find it in the group. You can find the group. It's just a community of. They're not fans. They're just a community of people that have found value in some of our higher performance habits and higher performance insights. We take things just like this topic and we boil it down into just real quick leader lessons and leader guides as well, because boss, you're way too busy to be, okay, Charlie, do you want to lead a set? I see that all the time in executive meetings. Hey, we should probably do some development during our regular meeting time. All right. Hey, Susan and Carlos, will the two of you work together and just bring a topic to the table? Talk about accidental. This stuff is not accidental. You'll see dozens of leader lessons and leader guides that allow you to just be that expert, kind of sneaking the answers underneath the table, because it's all scripted out for you with some pretty healthy discussion questions as well. So I encourage you to check that out. You can go to higherperformancegroup.com. You scroll down, you'll find the group. Become a member. It's free. No cuesta nada. It's free. We build stuff because we just want to love on more people. That's what we do. That's what we do. So you can take the 5-minute team intelligence assessment in there as well, just to find out how healthy is your team. It gets into some of those reliability filters as well. So I would just want to thank you for being here. Remember, your team isn't lazy. Oftentimes I push y'all pretty hard and I kind of nudge. Your team's not lazy. I think you've been optimizing for harmony, probably instead of clarity. That's just the reality of most teams. So stop that just performance collaboration and start practicing productive disagreement. That's the challenge I would give you today. So the meeting about the meetings about the meeting, it's not really collaboration. Don't confuse your mind with that. It's really avoidance with good intentions, and you have better practices in your future, boss. And your students, your communities need you to see that truth. Peace, friends.